Yeah, so once again, I did author the Constitution of the United States when I was Thomas Jefferson. My first name, my original name was Alexander Hamilton. After I got my change of identity and change of cover, I became Thomas Jefferson, and my secondary alias, my alias was maintained as Alexander Hamilton. I was the first Treasurer and Secretary of State of the United States. I wrote the Declaration of Independence. I wrote the Articles of Confederation. I wrote the Constitution of the United States, and I hid in history that I did so, even though it's inferred that I did so to many. I was just being humble in hiding that I wrote that. But anyway, I did, as W.E.B. Du Bois, I did create the United Nations, and I did write the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and I did write the other chartering documents of the United Nations, the charter itself of the United Nations, and I did write the initial resolutions of the United Nations, and I did create the what was always going to become the European Union. I created the European Economic Community, the European Community. I did so from earth and in heaven, and I allowed Mandela to create what he wanted to call the United States of Africa. I suggested to him, I communicated to him that calling it the African Union makes a whole lot more sense. You don't want to play any game with the United States of America. With the United States of America, saying USA means United States of America at all times, and Africa is just some sort of subsidiary. Africa would not be able to feel safe with an annoyed or over assertive or aggressive United States of America, no matter what my decisions would be. It would just be an annoyance. It would just be some sort of it would be an annoyance. Okay, so yes, I suggested the African Union to him, and naturally he did not concede. He agreed, and that's what he started thinking anyway. He was just in love with the Constitution of the United States and the American evolution is the narrative of the United States, and then that's all that was, and I knew that from the get-go. So Gaddafi did not come up with the idea of the United States of Africa. He did not come up with that. That was Mandela. Mandela wrote the Constitution of South Africa, and Mandela is the first elected president of South Africa, and eventually he's going to state, without any sort of refutation, that he is the first president of South Africa. Everything before was just state president and was just procedural, never popular or electoral in actuality. Okay, so that's what the Central Intelligence Agency and INTERPOL are working on that particular issue. I did come up with the Asia Pacific concept, and I allowed Barack Obama to look through old files. Well, he might have gotten his new body in 1984, 85, I'm not too sure. If I am sure, I'm not going to have to reveal that to you guys. But anyway, I did allow him to look up stuff in the Asia Pacific. He was born in Vanuatu as Don John, and then I entered into a program to allow him to wake up in the second dimension, where he's dreaming into this world from a township outside my city of God and Angels. He's my tribal son, Ishmael, and he resides in one of the townships in the second dimension, what we consider the first level of heaven. Okay, so I had him re-enter, and then as soon as he entered, sent him back here to Earth with a new avatar, new body, without much memory, but just knowing exactly what he needed to do to be able to cope with the human condition. And when he entered, he was entered as a CIA operative. That's what it stated. But he was given access to, they tried hiding that he was from Vanuatu initially, and how he got to the point of having to re-enter Earth. And this and that. It was very difficult to understand when he first got back in. Okay, so I decided that I wrote the narrative for Barack Obama. Okay? I made all of those decisions, in all honesty. I'm always serious. Okay? So anyway, I came up with the Asia-Pacific concept, and I allowed him to come up with the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation. He looked everything up, the documents, and he says, well, it's going to be impossible to be able to sell some sort of Asia-Pacific union or whatever Mandela has planned regarding the Asia Pacific. So I'm just going to say this is all about economic growth and infrastructural growth and so forth. That's what he was thinking, and he came up with the Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation. All right, it was a bit ambitious because of the lack of politicality associated with it. He became a bit ambitious and forceful in asking that all of the Americas join the Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation. That's just not going to work, but I do understand how he got to that point. The lack of politicality, I haven't had to say that word in a while, politicality made him a bit ambitious when it came to member economies. Okay? So instead of that, we're going to say, well, Barack, I'm going to help you manage the Asia Pacific, and then we're going to evolve it into having an Asia Pacific Commission after the end of this world war that we are now officializing. A global war, the last war, World War III. At the end of this war in 2026 to 2027, we will work on creating, we will officially and demonstratively, without much conflict, material conflict or any of that. But, an Asia Pacific Commission will be created to manage the Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation, and a new logo, new emblem will be created, and there will be no sign of any parts of the Americas being part of the Asia Pacific, or India and South Asia being part of the Asia Pacific, because we're going to split Asia in two, West Asia and the Asia Pacific, due to population count, the shocking population of Asia. It just wouldn't make sense to have Asia become one union. Okay, so we're going to redo the logo, and we're just going to fix what's on the internet and just remove the Americas, including the United States, as part of the member economies. Okay? Or the member governments or member states. All right? And that's what we have planned. So what else? What else? The European Union is not going to be dissolved. NATO is going to incorporate all of the Eastern Caribbean states into NATO without war, just based on what happens in the Commonwealth of Dominica regarding it becoming officially the first associate state of the United States. At the end of the war, or even before then, in the latter stages, the Eastern Caribbean states, they will become part of NATO, and then eventually all of CARICOM will become part of NATO, and the buffer zone, or the line of the buffer zone, the line of delineation, the borderline of NATO will be Venezuela. Okay? So Brazil will never get into NATO. BRICS will evolve into some sort of a military association, actually a security association, which has economic and other value or qualities. So BRICS will allow South Africa and Brazil and Russia and so forth. Well, not even Russia. Well, we're going to have to get Russia out of we're just going to have to evolve certain things, okay? So are we going to have a South Atlantic sort of security association? That is very possible. It's unnecessary because we are going to dissolve NATO in a century and a half anyway. But that's so far away from now. But anyway, we have a lot of work to do. BRICS will serve as some sort of foundation to making sure that the rest of the world, Brazil, South Africa, will not feel in some sort of isolated zone or envy zone in not being able to get into NATO. Okay, so a lot of the West African states, countries will be able to get into NATO, all the Caribbean community, and it will first start with the Eastern Caribbean states will be able to get into NATO, and so that's the reality. Okay, so the European Union will not be dissolved. NATO will allow the European Union to conquer, not even quote unquote conquer or expand into taking up all of Eastern Europe, okay, including Turkey. Okay, the line of delineation, the border will be at Turkey, beyond Turkey. Turkey will become part of the European Union. Russia will become part of the European Union. It will not be renamed Eurasia or Republics of Eurasia or Eurasian Union or any of that. Okay, guys. So we're not going to have any Eurasian Union or Republics of Eurasia or Eurasia itself regarding politicality or political organization, and so on. Okay, so the Union of the Americas will be created in 2049. The EAA, the Free Trade and Economic Area of the Americas, will be established in 2026. Preceding that, world government will be established in 2044, and I will be the first world president. My name will officially be Khalid Sundiata Hassan. Shawn, Dexter, John will be my secondary alias, and I will look quite different. I'll evolve to be quite. My facial features will be close enough to what I look like right now, but I'll be back and forth from heaven, altering my avatar so much. I will be eventually 6'8", 6'9". By the time I am world president, Khalid Sundiata Hassan, because I was so humble in allowing George Washington to be the first president of the United States. I was quite humble. I could have made that decision to be the first president of the United States, but I said no. On the second coming of Jesus Christ, I will be the first world president of the world, of the globe, the United Nations, and that's the sacrifice I made back then. Okay? It wasn't because he was taller than me. George Washington was my step-grandfather. He really was. I made that decision myself. I said I don't want to go through too much to be able to sell to Earth that I ought to be the first world president and proclaim to the entire planet that Jesus Christ is indeed Allah, Buddha, Brahma, Yahweh. Because that's going to be the shocker. Not just me becoming the world president, but the whole world being briefed by Interpol and the CIA and a new GIA that's going to be formed in 2044, a Global Intelligence Agency, that I am God himself and that Jesus Christ is Allah, Alpha and the Omega. Okay? So I said, okay, it has to be fair. It's not going to be too much of an annoyance, but we do understand. Okay? It's a sacrifice I made. Stop saying that he was taller than me, and that's the reason why. That makes no sense. As Thomas Jefferson, I was 6'1". He's not that much taller than me. Stop.
And get intelligent alerts like when a package has arrived. When the most trusted name in home security adds the intelligence of Google, you have a home with no worries. Brought to you by ADT. There wouldn't be an hour in the day that I wouldn't think about my hair thinning.
I had under my hat for a good 3 years.
I experienced many challenges with prescribed medication.
Losing your sex life feels very shameful.
My dermatologist recommended Nutrafol.
Hold on, I'm going to show that CBS News does provide that it's essentially, that is June the 8th, 2024. Okay, well, this is CBS, local CBS.
UCF is getting ready for the start of its football season. Coming up next, how the head coach is preparing for kickoff. This is you.
Get the foundational nutrition you need at drinkag1.com.
As a military veteran, I've had a lot of my discipline to my sales job. My paychecks are great, but commissions
So, this is what's going to happen. So we have arrested LeBron James. The U.S. Marshals have spoken to him. He's going to stage his death. He's going to fake his death. And he's going to starve himself in prison for a year. He's going to end up being 160 pounds by the time he's out of prison, and he's going to be stuck in a wheelchair for good. His leg implants are going to be just skin and bones. Okay? He's done. He's going to have a catheter. He's done. He made a horrible mistake. And he made too many horrible mistakes trying to refute that a horrible mistake was a horrible mistake. He became a wicked person, and he's going to pay for it. And he has agreed to pay for it, no matter what sort of hope he has that people are going to rescue him. Okay, I promise you guys. He's going to spend a year at Clinton Correctional Facility. He's going to starve toward becoming 160 pounds after faking his death. And he's going to fake his death this month, next month, or at least before the Olympics. That's guaranteed. Okay, and he's going to get leg implants, and it's going to be completely just, it's going to appear to be just skin and bones. What you guys see of folks who have been paralyzed for 10, 20 years. Okay, or 10 years or whatever it is. Okay, I want you guys to accept that. Accept that.
We were driving to LA downtown food market. We were driving to Central California to pick up citrus. We were kind of all over the place.
The name Seva comes from the concept of selfless service in the Sikh faith, and their slogan, Sarbat Da Bala, is a phrase used in the religion that means do good for all. And that's just what this group is doing.
It takes away a sense of dread, and it takes away a sense of anxiety of not having enough food just like for the family.
The initiative has served nearly
it's Saturday.
2020, partnering with various
Saturday, once again. And as you can see, this particular program, the segment of the program that you see on CBS News, it said Allah. You heard the word Allah. Barack Obama literally thought that he was Allah. The agents were trying to find a way to get around me actually being Allah. In secret, they did not want to listen to me saying no to prostitution and so forth. And so that's the reason why I'm not in California. I'm not an operative for Barack Obama. I'm not a representative for Barack Obama. I'm not a pen name or some sort of auxiliary or subsidiary of Barack Obama or anything like that. I'm telling you guys, this is it. Everything has come to an end. I make the decisions, not Kamala Harris, not Barack Obama. Women don't make the decisions to how their husbands get punished when they break the law, or even worse, when they break the law pathologically, clinically, serially. Michelle Obama is not going to make any decision over that situation whatsoever. Let it go.